How do we do this? I can't, and I guess I'm gonna ask this question.
That we were currently negotiating.
The bad contract to level of operations. The same way the mayor tells us. Right?
I forgot to mention the transparency part. That was a really key component. I would love this council to know. The department spends an exorbitant amount of time producing and the various different lease documents. We are making those available and working with Panda and IT to ensure that the public has all of the agreements. Right now, they don't. The easiest way they can get them is the PRAs. This will advance the ability for people to do their own searches in the same way that special use permits are available on the state's website too.
I hate to say this, but as bad as this is, the public should not have to PRA. Again, this is taxpayer dollars. And we are going to, what's the term, owners? Is we're putting another level of them to figure out how the mayor is protecting their dollars. And to say, hey, let's just do a PRA, I don't think that's the appropriate response.
Forgive me, that wasn't what I was, if my wording wasn't correct. We are getting an overabundance.
To say, we need to find a way to deal with this.
Thank you very much, Council President. We absolutely need to eliminate disparities. The person I'm most unhappy with is the mayor who originally signed this lease, who this city to a sweetheart deal. We will continue to be stuck with for decades. And we will be stuck with this until it ends. As Mayor Pete Wilson. So let's make that clear. This is not a holdover lease. It's not a lease that has expired and that we have an opportunity to renegotiate. It is an active current lease, and we're stuck with this active current lease until the end of the active current lease. What we do have an opportunity to do is revisit it periodically and update the terms. And I appreciate the recent efforts to do that. And I know that as future opportunities come up, we'll continue to do our best to maximize the revenue available to us. Thank you.
Not a lot of room to maneuver, but I think it was very informative and continues to emphasize why where we perhaps can dig in a little bit deeper and have a better conversation about where we are and where we're going. Ms. Pebble, I'm doing a lot of catch up. You still don't have the staff to go back and do the best we can, but based on that table.
Well, I think I mentioned this when we talked, that the most comparable courses, which are Tenkolodi and Mission Trails, if you look at that list, or if you remember it, Vineyard, Carlton Oaks, same thing. We only own half of that. We get 9%, even though we only own half of it. So again, we're not appraisers, and this may be the best that can be done with the deal that was struck in 2016. That has certain limits on what they can use. But I just think it is notable in some way. Either it's 2016 or maybe there's a little more room for something now, and so I think it's worth discussing.
Sure, no, I completely agree. Without stepping on the toes of my colleagues, we probably shouldn't leave too much on the variety of that table, and of course, we would want the high end. But as we're all talking, we have legacy leases that we're kind of have to be stuck with. One of the things I was hoping that would profit, Mr. Howard, would you, because I think some question has been, maybe we ought to take back these, without speaking to the legality of that, but whether we should take back, what is the condition of these leased golf courses compared to what you manage on a day-to-day basis?
No, well, thank you for the question. Once again, my name is John Howard, Deputy Director. All of these courses, those are going to be very different. So I think we really have to think about what are the expectations.
Fair enough. I think that's a very generous answer, but I think the reality, as you said, they are very different golf courses. The ranch you might expect might be the highest quality. Presidio probably hovers around the bottom there. That's a whole other conversation going forward. And I think Tecolodi is closed, right, because of the massive sewer project there. So, do we know when Tecolodi is coming back online?
We're in the process right now of working with economic development. We're working with one of the partners to be able to take over operations. Since March 1st, the Golf Division has been managing that property. Construction is scheduled to be complete by, I believe, September 14th. So there will be a little bit of a break in between construction and reopening, but we are going to wait until there's a long-term lease in place.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, thank you for the amazing work. It's, I think, a very big point of pride. Torrey Pines, Municipal Golf Course has hosted the U.S. Open and is the envy of every other private golf course as well as every other municipality, and a large tribute to you. This lengthy conversation.
Areas of the general fund in order to support that. You know, we're talking, you know, I don't have a number off the top of my
Built a bench, so we do have a 339 slowed us up a bit, so we had to go through a lot more of the kind of process. We did allow us to try to catch up and bring additional resources to bear. So we're finally getting there.
I know certainly doesn't care, but even this point about a new state law that says, okay, you got to stop what you're doing, deal with this new law and how it interferes with our operations. Doesn't help us as we try to crawl our way out of some of these holes. That long, but hopefully a productive conversation so that we're a little smarter and see different participants through speech rights at council and committee meetings. And I probably don't have to say this, but if you spoke in person this morning, please do not call in. You have one.
Thank you, Council President. Since everyone should be joining us virtually, please make sure.
Using data from 2021 through 2024. The researchers found that cannabis use disorder is increasing while it addresses a very important misconception that marijuana is safer than it is not the standard we should use for public policy. We should not be choosing between two public health problems.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Because of products, other jurisdictions are doing this. It makes sense in light of the recent statement by San Diego Dr. Ronnie Lev, National Office of Drug Policy. She called marijuana the #1 drug addiction. THC caps could help stem addiction because experts say marijuana is the hardest addiction to treat, with fewer medications for recovery than opioids and methamphetamine. Through my substance use prevention work, I witnessed firsthand marijuana's devastating effects on young people. Kids are especially vulnerable to high-potency THC. CAC due to ongoing pat use negatively impacts decision-making, impulse control, emotions, and has lasting effects on being into substance use.
Cost-conscious tools we have. Sandan juvenile arrestee drug use in the San Diego region reports 98% of the juveniles interviewed reported makers that pursue profit. Children are given conflicting messages when they tell them not to use addictive substances that are now being promoted throughout our neighborhoods. A study psychiatry found that states to maximize prevention of serious.
Claire, please proceed.
Hi, thank you. Claire Beekman. Thankfully, San Diego city government is now as competitive and demanding of new technology used to say the San Francisco Bay Area and Silicon Valley. A reminder that before Stanford, Palo Alto, and Menlo Park, Silicon Valley was the land of the Ohlone Costa Noa nations. In this fall election time, I hope San Diego can be having more regular community conversations about our public safety future. Along with crime, most people simply fear our technology. Accountable, responsible tech policies is simply meant to help alleviate these fears of our technology future. And that good tech policy practices simply can create a more efficient use of tech, a reduction of tech need, and yearly budget savings. And all of this can continue to maintain responsible tech use and good public safety practices. To also address there's a genuine concern and fear of technology and its current leaders. Many people in San Diego and across the country are speaking this time that we should not have to feel overly pressured in the placement of tech in our local San Diego neighborhoods. And do we even need technology placement? And can we continue to perform tasks without being simply maybe needed to return to service in the near future? It seems a bad idea to sell the Neil Good Day Center. I think we're making a bad decision all around there. I hope we really can be addressing it in the upcoming weeks and months. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Hector, if you can please unmute. The 5-minute, go ahead, I recognize the 5-minute timer did conclude. There are 8 speakers in the queue. No additional speakers will be taken. Hector, can you please proceed?
All right, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, all the city leases, like in Mission Bay, like 6 months ago, 30% of them were way behind. All the revenues, like I don't know if the catamaran is, but all the different businesses, 30% of them were either not paying the rent or back on the lease. Or why don't we like once a week have let's collect the money day and get everyone's names, and even the guys that own the golf course. They have corporations that hide their stuff. Who knows the actual owner, unless it's BlackRock or something. But just go to them. They're probably community leaders. They know they're getting a huge deal. I don't know if we have to shame them, but they want to do best for San Diego. Build us a couple bathrooms down there in the south part, and we tell the kids about how come we have a porta john and we don't get a bathroom. It's because the city's not minding the store. It's not because we're poor and we're Mexicans or we're this or that, or if the city's not minding the store, so you got to use the porta potty. These other guys are living life large, and they have great bathrooms and tennis courts, and they're paying like 1/10 of what it's worth. I think at least like maybe one out of 8 what it's really worth. And even the owner of the Padres, he might pay us $5,000 a year, $5 million a year to rent it from us, and let him do whatever he wants to rent it. Just let him take care of everything else.
Again, pleading for help with a fire and soil erosion hazard. Again, pleading for help with a fire and soil erosion hazard that my neighbor has intentionally created. If you look at the satellite view of 8845 Ragweed Court, you'll have some context for what I'm talking about. My neighbor has repeatedly cleared the city-owned land without permission, creating a soil erosion risk on city property in advance of what is expected to be one of the wettest winter neighborhood. These neighbors have been treating the canyon, which they do not own, as their own personal trash dump for years. I've asked this neighbor and their contractor to stop and clean up behaviors not only selfish and reckless, it is incorporated landscape regulations. Over multiple times, the Brush Management Department, Get It Done, and Councilmember Von Wilpert's office, multiple times. This is not a private dispute between neighbors. This is a reckless individual creating unnecessary risk for the city and this entire neighborhood, which is clearly in violation of established law. This hillside needs to be revegetated, the fire hazard cleared, and the individual stopped from damaging this property every year. I'm begging for your help. And if you've seen what is happening with homeowners insurance lately, I trust you understand that I frankly can't afford to drop this issue. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. 7499, if you can please unmute. I know you do have a presentation. 7499. I have asked you to unmute, *6, there you go.
Please play my video.
Thank you.
Here, I'm going to read from several letters written to Joe LaCava regarding the Torrey Pines Blight Report. I'll start with this 2021 letter written supported that the City of San Diego reconvene the Torrey Pines Advisory Board. We are requesting that the City of San Diego consider whether the sole pilot flyers should have to pay annual membership fees or cost of insurance to fly the Blight Report. End quote. Next is a letter from the La Jolla Shores Association on November 13, 2025. Quote, to advise the city on planning, maintenance, and operation of Torrey Pines City Park. End quote. Finally, this is 2026 while you were on vacation. Quote, the La Jolla Town Council respectfully submits this letter in support of reactivating the Torrey Pines City Park Advisory Board under City Charter Section 43A and its essential role in providing oversight of operations of the Torrey Pines Blight Report. Torrey Pines City Park Advisory Board should be tasked with advising the city on matters of safety and fair access to the Torrey Pines City Park. Matters of fair access should include a review of whether solo flyer pilots should be required to maintain annual membership fees and/or individual insurance coverage as a condition of flying the Blight Report. End quote. Joe LaCava, why are you ignoring all of these important?
Natalie Rashke, I can mute for you. There you go.
I'm here. Hi, Natalie Rashke. So I didn't get a chance to speak yesterday because mic issues. I'm so beside myself. Sorry, I was running from my phone. I went to a town, there's a real disconnect. It's extremely overwhelming to watch. You would think intelligent people that oversee. It was another, like, she talked about the Senate being like high school. I mean, it was cringeful, and everything she said was word salad. What is happening? Gosh, I wish I had more to speak, but this is real life happening to me.
Marianne Skellett, if you can please unmute.
Members, our legislative break. Public health educator and a planning group has brought me great. First-degree murder and shooting death of cannabis delivery driver Andreas Dominguez in Oak Park neighborhood, which is in District 4. Brian and Kevin were 16 and 18. Driver would bring them pot. What pot shop was the situation regarding the social, economic implications when chronic or daily use of marijuana popularized population grows. Our our role must be to support healthy city advertising and availability policies and their practices regarding marijuana and other intoxicating products. Thank you for letting me speak this afternoon.
Thank you, John. If you can please unmute. John, I can unmute for you. There you go. We cannot hear you here in council chambers. I'm not sure if the device that you're speaking into may be muted. You can unmute the device that you're speaking into. I do see you unmuted, but we do not hear you here. We will have to move on to our next caller. Madison, if you can please unmute.
Hello, good afternoon, City Council. I'm speaking today on my concern characters, candy and cereal imagery, and even bubble style lettering as examples of if the existing rules were already working. The answer is enough. The state auditor has confirmed attractive to children. The bill's author also cited dramatically increased child cannabis poisoning to strengthen local cannabis oversight, protect children from normalization and accidental exposure, and make a product can be mistaken for candy, cereal, or something from a child's world. We have a responsibility to make sure children are protected from it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That does conclude public comment on today's meeting. Non-agenda public comment for today's meeting.
All right, thank you, City Clerk, and again, thank you for you and your team and IT and anybody else that helped navigate the challenges and the timeliness which you got them resolved. With that, we will now adjourn council to the next regularly scheduled council meeting on Monday, August 31st, 2026 at 10 a.m.